Peace. Today I wanted to talk about knowledge of self. In fact, I'm going to share a little bit about my own journey so that you can get a pretty good idea about what knowledge of self is. Just like many people, we oftentimes have some very strange ideas about what knowledge of self is. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is what knowledge of self is not. Check this out. When I first heard about knowledge of self, I thought it was like a treasure map, where at the end of the road, knowledge was like this shiny pot of gold.
When I was 5 years old, I realized there was a road at the end. I would win lots of pots of gold. Never took a break, never made a mistake. Took time to create, 'cause there's money to make.
Like teenage boys in elementary school, some guys think that knowledge of self is some kind of power you're supposed to use to impress girls. Some people think that there's some kind of Cape Crusader, and like Bruce Wayne, they live a double life, where knowledge of self is some kind of bat signal in the sky. Some people think that it's all about them, sort of like being on some private exotic island all to themselves. That's not knowledge of self, that's knowledge of being selfish. I've also known people who thought that knowledge of self made them bigger and better than other people. And usually what they did was just bully people about what they believed. These are just some examples of what knowledge of self is absolutely not. Knowledge of self is really a never-ending inner journey, and the first step is unlearning the things that are wrong. And trust me, this doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to learn to do what is right. And the only thing that happens overnight is the night. Knowledge of self is about being self-aware. It's about being conscious of who you actually are. And the knowledge that you gain helps you learn to do the right thing for yourself, others, and the environment. See, there's many different people in many different places who have many different ways to learn about who they are. As the 5%, we have our own unique way of learning who we are. We are scientists of life, which means we study everything. And that's not always easy because there's things that we learn we never even heard of before. So there's 3 things that actually happen in our journey. We unlearn some things, we learn some things new, and then we also discover that some of the things we always learned are still good for our journey. As scientists of life, one of the most important things that we study is our own childhood, because there were many different experiences we had growing up that form the basis of how we see things today. In fact, some of our experiences are the actual brain architecture of how we think. Take a moment and check this out.
Science tells us that the experiences we have in the first years of our lives actually affect the physical architecture of the developing brain. This means that brains aren't just born, they're also built over time based on our experiences. Just as a house needs a sturdy foundation to support the walls and roof, a brain needs a good base to support all future development. Positive interactions between young children and their caregivers literally build the architecture of the developing brain. Building a sturdy foundation in the earliest years provides a good base for a lifetime of good mental function and better overall health. So just how is a solid brain foundation built and maintained in a developing child? One way is through what brain experts call serve and return interactions. Imagine a tennis match between a caregiver and a child, but instead of hitting a ball back and forth across a net, various forms of communication pass between the two, from eye contact to touch, from singing to simple games like peekaboo. These interactions, repeated throughout a young person's developing years, are the bricks that build a healthy foundation for all future development. But another kind of childhood experience shapes brain development too, and that's stress. Good kinds of stress, like meeting new people or studying for a test, are healthy for development because they prepare kids to cope with future challenges. Another kind of stress, called toxic stress, is bad for brain development. If a child is exposed to serious ongoing hardships like abuse and neglect, and he has no other caregiver in his life to provide support, the basic structures of his developing brain may be damaged. Without a sturdy foundation to properly support future development, he is at risk for a lifetime of health problems, development issues, even addiction. It's possible to fix some of the damage of toxic stress later on, but it's easier, more effective, and less expensive to build solid brain architecture in the first place.
Even though there are some people in this world who do some pretty horrible things, our greatest opponent is always ourselves. And if we can defeat our own self-doubt and our own insecurities, knowledge of self helps us achieve what some see as impossible, including making a much better world than this one that we see around us. Hey, I got a riddle for you. What's the one thing you use every single day that you'll never get back? No, silly, not toilet paper. Time. Time is the one thing you use every single day that you'll never get back. So another part of knowledge of self is the best use of your time. Time is like a ruler that allows you to measure your growth and development. So over time, you should always be better. Imagine a person that doesn't use their time the right way. They're like a hamster on a wheel, not going nowhere. As you get better, others naturally get better who are around you. You elevate and help others achieve this positive mental state. Your inner work is now expressed as your outer work, as a constructive member of your community. See, it's not nearly as complicated as some people would love to make it seem. It's about being a resource to other people and a protector of our planet Earth. Knowledge of self means that you are aware of your connection to everything around you and everything's connection to you. Thanks for listening. Peace.
Hey, 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 I wasn't the one. You was